right, well, in the midst of all this market carnage, I thought it'd be a good idea to spare the viewers from one more block of doom and gloom, right? We wanted to brighten your day a little bit by bringing on a friend of mine to talk about something that strikes at the heart of parents around the world. Any red-blooded human who watched the Queen of England's Jubilee saw Princess Louis doing his best impression of our own children, right? Having a difficult time sitting still. We can all identify with those grocery store meltdowns, right? Whether you live in Kensington Palace or a farmhouse in Indiana, please welcome in from across the pond, a Palace Royal contributor to the Daily Mail and an outright Fox News Royal reporter himself, Neil Sean. Neil, thanks for taking the time to be on. I thought that was an awesome piece because it really went to the heart of their normal people having the same normal problems. And I think it was very grounding and I think it gained them a lot of support.
Well, Scott, it's lovely to see you, and hello from London. By the way, can I just say to all your viewers over here, you don't realise how big a deal the cow guy is in London. If I walk down the street with Mr. Scott, no, honestly, you were a big deal, you know. So we truly miss you, and I wish you'd have been here for the Jubilee, Scott. You would have really enjoyed it, in fact. It was brilliant. I think what's interesting, actually, is it's, as you rightly said, actually, Scott, it's humanised, the sort of now modern royal family, because if you can't make that child behave, and let's be honest, I was there at that event, and what was interesting was Mike Tyndall did point out that Princess Anne's daughter's husband, that the kids had had too many sweets. So they were all a bit buzzing, you know. And I think that was part of the problem. Plus the fact you're asking a 4-year-old, let's be honest, Scott, to sit through all of that. Who could sit through at least a second of Ed Sheeran? Not me. But the thing is, we had to sit through a lot, you know, and I think I thought it was very sweet, actually. But what's been interesting is the way that money now can be, I don't mean made as such, but he's turned into popular. He's getting a lot of letters, all sorts of gifts and toys and stuff like that to the palace because he's become their big star.
Well, I also think Princess Kate did very well handling the situation. I mean, it was obviously that was impromptu and nobody had planned on that. And I thought, again, that was one of the things that's always very hard for the royals is to let them be, known. It was humanizing, very, commoner-ish, right? I don't know what the right word is there, but something that can make everybody relate. And I think they did a fantastic job with that.
You know, the other part of it was, there's part of you, I think you can see in Catherine's face, Scott, that when I get you home, I'm going to turn into Joan Crawford and Mommy Fury. The wire coat hangers coming out the back, But of course, the worst bit was, he was sort of like sticking his fingers up at her, pulling her hair, all the things that really could have smudged her lipstick. All girls know that problem. And the other side of it was, how do you control that? Because she knew, on the one hand, she's probably a little bit embarrassed, but on the other, they know this is an endearing thing. And that really opened her up. And what's interesting, as I say, is Buckingham Palace, the big shop, down, as you know, Buckingham Palace Road, they're now getting requests for cards, little pictures of Louis. There's already fake replications of him looking in those particular stands, blowing his hands and all that sort of stuff. So when you go around all the souvenir shops, you can see the cards. That's how popular he's become virtually overnight. We didn't see that much of him before the Jubilee. So for him now to becoming, bypassing, if you like, Prince George, who looked like the elder statesman standing there, didn't he? I thought he looked brilliant. But even Princess Charlotte, a little bit sort of tricky with Camilla looking in her bag and, always worrying.
Well, I mean, it couldn't have been a better performance coming on the back of the fact that there's been all that strife with Harry and Meghan, too. So having that behind them and at the same time see them act so well in public and still have all us normal people problems and handle it like that. Now, we're not going to give them a gold medal to handle the children like everybody else does on a daily basis, but it was just nice to see that they, too, have the same issue. And so for our viewers, real quick, Sean, Neil, if you could let us know what the actual ascendancy to the throne is. How does that go down through, say, the Queen now, and how does that get to Prince Louis?
Well, it's interesting, actually. It's a good point, that, Scott, because obviously Her Majesty the Queen, we just hope she's going to cling on. 96-year-old, still doing incredibly well. Then it goes to Prince Charles, then Prince William, and then Prince George. So there would have to be a lot of problems before it got to Louis. But looking at today's debacle with the battle on, of course, the Duke of York and Prince Andrew. We were out at Windsor earlier on for the Royal Garter thing. He wanted to come to that. I felt a bit sorry for him, if I'm honest. But people have said, he'd be frightened of being booed. It was a private event inside Windsor Castle. I don't really see why he couldn't have come along. And also, and you understand this because, well, you've got a big heart, Scott. His mother is 96 years old.
Yes.
She's trying to do the right thing, and it's pulling at her heartstrings as a monarch. But more importantly, she's also as a mother. Moving aside all the things that people are suggesting that he's guilty of, you have to feel for this particular lady. Lost her husband, not so long ago, so many years together, and now she's got a wearing family. Plus, of course, Harry and Meghan kicking off over in California.
Right.
She must wonder and think, what did I do to get all of this? How bad do I have to be?
The best way that I put it over here, Neil, is the fact that that 70-year-old woman, or no, that 96-year-old woman, she's been on the throne for 7 years. Think about it. That is, if you use 1776 as our start date, she's been on the throne for England almost about 30% of the lifetime of our country. I mean, that is a pretty amazing feat.
It is. And actually, that's what's strange, Scott, when we, on a serious note, we were watching the Jubilee unfold, and you kind of think of the historical things. There was this wonderful thing with the State Gold Coach where they put a hologram inside the coach. And did you find that eerie? I thought, wow, the same journey all of these years later,
Right.
It is spooky to think.
It was we thought it was pretty cool. We got to jump, though. Thank you very much. Neil Sean, a great friend of mine. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I owe you a big one. All right, time now to dial up the old cow phone. Mike in Morris, Minnesota writes, went to Walmart today. First time in 4 months. They went from empty shelves to stuff stacked everywhere. Most of it was spring and summer items. When is the clearance sale? 4th of July, almost here. Wow. Mike, it's definitely coming, and you heard it here first. Target announced significant clearance sale the very day that we did the segment, predicting that was their only way out. Dave in Vidalia, Ohio writes, the Huns are at the gate, but some of you viewers must think it's the Avon lady. Memo to those viewers. Ignore the facts at your own peril. The cow guy rocks. Well, Dave, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much. And this is from Rich in Iowa. I record your show every day so I can watch in the evening. I fast forward through most of your analysis. The gloom and doomers, because they tend to lean whichever way the breeze is blowing. But I always listen to, say, Tommy Grisafi and Carly Garner because they have original thoughts. Well, Rich, I wouldn't say our guests are gloom and doomers. They're like me. They just want to tell you the truth, and they're not going to try to sugarcoat it. And I certainly don't think they subscribe to any sort of group think. But we do get a ton of feedback on both Carly and Tommy Grisafi. They're fantastic guests, and they do have their own unique way of putting things in different words. I really appreciate the letter. All right, shoot me a text. This number is 615-983-9681. It's become alive as of late. We really like you guys writing in. Leave your name and state and don't hold back. That number is 615-983-9681. And this has been the Cow Guy Close. And now the futures markets are closed. I'm Scott Shellady, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. I'll see you tomorrow.